Hey everyone, and welcome back.
I'm Emma.
And I'm James. It's great to have you with us today.
So, James, today's episode is a special one. We're talking about the FIFA World Cup 2026, and honestly, what a tournament it's been so far. Every single day feels like there's another surprise, another incredible goal, or another unforgettable moment.
You're absolutely right. This World Cup has been packed with drama from the very beginning. And because it's the first World Cup with 48 national teams, everything feels bigger. More countries, more matches, more fans, and honestly, more stories than ever before.
Yeah,
I remember when FIFA announced they were expanding the tournament. Some people loved the idea, and others thought it would make the competition less exciting.
Exactly. There were a lot of debates. People wondered if having more teams would lower the quality of football. But what's happened instead is almost the opposite. We've seen smaller nations compete with confidence, and some of them have shocked the traditional football giants.
That's actually one of my favorite things about this World Cup. Every match feels unpredictable. You can't just assume the big teams will win anymore.
And that's one of the biggest stories of modern football. The gap between the strongest countries and the smaller ones is getting smaller. Players from all over the world now compete in Europe's biggest leagues. They gain experience, improve their skills, and bring that quality back to their national teams.
So even countries that people don't usually think about can suddenly become really dangerous?
Exactly. Football has become much more global. 20 years ago, a small nation might have had only one professional player. Today, they might have an entire starting lineup playing in top leagues around the world.
That's amazing. And I think that's one reason fans love the World Cup so much. It's not just about winning the trophy. It's about incredible stories.
Absolutely. Every World Cup creates new heroes. Sometimes it's a superstar like Kylian Mbappe. Other times, it's an unknown goalkeeper who suddenly becomes famous after making impossible saves.
Or a young player nobody had heard of before the tournament, and then suddenly everyone wants to know their name.
Exactly. That's the magic of the World Cup. Careers can change overnight.
Speaking of surprises, I think one thing that really stands out this year is how intense every single match has been.
I agree. Because there are more teams and more opportunities to qualify for the knockout stage. Every point matters. Teams fight until the final whistle because they know one goal can completely change their future in the tournament.
You know, I noticed something while watching the games. Players seem faster than ever.
That's not your imagination. Modern football has evolved dramatically. Players are stronger, quicker, and much more athletic than they were even 10 years ago. Sports science has completely transformed training.
So it's not just talent anymore?
Talent is still essential, of course. But today, nutrition, recovery, sleep, fitness tracking, video analysis, and even psychology all play huge roles. National teams invest millions to prepare for tournaments like this.
wow.
So when we watch 90 minutes of football, we're actually seeing years of preparation.
Exactly. Fans see the match. Coaches see tactics. Scientists see performance data. Nutritionists see energy management. It's all connected.
That's fascinating. I never really thought about how many people work behind the scenes.
Sometimes a national team has dozens of specialists traveling with them. Doctors, fitness coaches, analysts, physiotherapists, psychologists. It's a massive operation.
And I guess that's why the smallest details can decide a match.
Absolutely. One tactical adjustment, one substitution, one moment of concentration. That's often the difference between celebrating victory and going home.
And honestly, that's why millions of people around the world simply can't stop watching.
Exactly. The World Cup isn't just football. It's emotion. It's national pride. It's unforgettable moments that people remember for decades.
And today, we've only just started exploring everything that's happened during this incredible tournament.
Because coming up next, we're going to dive into some of the biggest surprises of the World Cup 2026, the teams nobody expected to shine, and the moments that completely changed the competition. You know, Emma, one of the things that has impressed me the most during this World Cup is how unpredictable the tournament has become.
I completely agree. Every time I think I know what's going to happen, another result completely changes everything.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest reasons people love the World Cup. Club football is fantastic, but international football has a unique kind of drama. Every match feels like history is being written.
And it really feels like the smaller nations aren't afraid of anyone anymore.
That's true. 20 or 30 years ago, some teams would step onto the pitch already believing they were going to lose against the traditional football powers. Today, that mentality has completely changed. These players compete against the world's best every week at club level. So when they face them in the World Cup, they already know what to expect.
Confidence makes such a huge difference, doesn't it?
It really does. Football is just as mental as it is physical. If you believe you belong on that stage, you're already in a much stronger position.
And I think that's exactly what we've seen throughout this tournament. Every team comes out fighting from the very first whistle.
That's another interesting point. Because the tournament has expanded to 48 teams, every nation feels like it has a genuine opportunity to make history. Instead of simply enjoying the experience, many teams arrive believing they can actually reach the knockout stage.
Which means every group has become much more competitive.
Absolutely. There are fewer easy matches than people expected. Fans thought the bigger tournament might create one-sided games, but instead we've seen plenty of close contests where a single goal decided everything.
I actually love those kinds of matches. They're so tense because you know one mistake can change the entire tournament.
Exactly. And that's another reason why coaches have become incredibly cautious. They know one defensive error or one mischance could mean elimination.
Speaking of coaches, they seem calmer than ever on the sidelines, even when the match is completely chaotic.
While they may look calm, but inside they're constantly making decisions. Every few minutes they're evaluating player fitness, tactical adjustments, substitutions, and how the opponent is reacting.
So they're basically playing a game of chess while the players are playing football.
That's actually a perfect comparison. Every substitution sends a message. Sometimes it's an attacking move because a team wants to score. Other times it's purely defensive because they're trying to protect a lead.
I've also noticed that substitutions seem to have a much bigger impact nowadays.
They certainly do. Modern football has become much faster, so fresh players can completely change the rhythm of a game. A fast winger entering in the final 20 minutes can be a nightmare for defenders who've already been running for over an hour.
That must be exhausting.
It is. Imagine chasing one of the fastest players in the world for 90 minutes. By the end of the match, every sprint feels harder than the last.
And then there are the goalkeepers. Honestly, I think they've become superheroes.
Goalkeeping has evolved tremendously. Today's goalkeepers don't just stop shots. They help build attacks, pass confidently with both feet, and almost act as an extra defender.
It's funny because years ago, people mostly judged goalkeepers by the number of saves they made.
Exactly. Today, they're judged on much more than that. Coaches expect them to stay calm under pressure, organize the defense, communicate constantly, and even start dangerous counterattacks with one accurate pass.
It's incredible how every position has changed over the years.
Football never stops evolving. Every World Cup introduces new tactical ideas, and coaches around the world study those ideas almost immediately.
which means the next generation of players grows up learning completely different styles of football.
That's right. Young players watching this tournament today might copy the movements, passing patterns, and celebrations they see from their favorite stars. In a way, every World Cup inspires the future of football.
And that's something people sometimes forget. These tournaments don't just entertain us for a month. They influence football for years afterward.
Exactly. Some of the tactics we're seeing today will probably become normal at club level over the next few seasons.
It's amazing to think that millions of children around the world are watching these matches and dreaming about one day playing on this very stage.
And who knows? The next global superstar might be sitting in front of a television right now, watching this tournament and imagining what it would feel like to wear their country's shirt.
That's one of the most beautiful things about the World Cup. Every match creates memories, but it also creates dreams for the future.
And while unforgettable moments are created on the pitch, some of the biggest stories actually begin long before the referee blows the whistle.
You mean all the preparation behind the scenes?
Exactly. Fans usually focus on the 90 minutes of football, but national teams spend months, sometimes even years, preparing for a tournament like this. Every training session, every friendly match, every tactical meeting is designed with the World Cup in mind.
I always wonder what happens inside the dressing room before such a huge match.
It depends on the coach. Some give emotional speeches. Others keep things simple and focus on tactics. And then there are coaches who barely say anything because they know the players already understand what's at stake.
That's interesting. I always imagined there would be some dramatic movie-style speech before every game.
Sometimes there is, but often the atmosphere is surprisingly quiet. Players are focused. They're visualizing the match, thinking about their responsibilities, and trying to stay calm.
I guess emotions can be dangerous if they become overwhelming.
Exactly. You need passion, but you also need control. If a player gets too emotional, they might lose concentration or make poor decisions.
That's something we don't always think about as fans.
Right. We celebrate the goals and the victories, but we rarely see the mental discipline required to perform under that kind of pressure.
And then there's the crowd. The atmosphere in every stadium has been unbelievable.
It really has. One of the greatest things about the World Cup is seeing supporters from completely different cultures celebrating together. You have thousands of fans wearing different colors, singing different songs, but they're all united by the same love of football.
I love seeing fans exchange scarves, take pictures together, and even learn each other's chants.
That's one of the hidden beauties of the tournament. Football becomes a way for people to connect, even if they don't speak the same language.
It's amazing how a simple game can bring people together from every corner of the world.
That's why many people call the World Cup the biggest sporting celebration on the planet. It's not only about competition. It's also about culture, friendship, and unforgettable experiences.
Another thing I've noticed is how quickly a single goal can change the mood inside a stadium.
Oh, absolutely. One moment, 40,000 people are completely silent, and the next they're jumping, shouting, and hugging strangers. Football creates emotional swings that very few sports can match.
And then sometimes the opposite happens. A team concedes a late goal, and you can almost feel the heartbreak.
That's the cruel side of football. Months of preparation can disappear because of one mistake or one brilliant moment from the opposition.
That's why people always say football is a game of fine margins.
Exactly. A shot that hits the post instead of going in. A last-second tackle. A goalkeeper stretching just a few centimeters farther. Those tiny moments often decide who continues and who goes home.
You know what else has impressed me during this tournament?
What's that?
The speed of the counterattacks. Teams seem capable of going from defending their own penalty area to creating a scoring chance in just a few seconds.
Modern football is incredibly fast. Coaches spend countless hours practicing transitions because they know that's where many matches are won. The moment a team wins possession, everyone immediately knows where to run.
So those quick attacks aren't just instinct?
Not at all. They're rehearsed over and over again in training. Players know exactly where their teammates are expected to move.
That explains why everything looks so coordinated.
Exactly. What appears spontaneous is often the result of hundreds of hours of practice.
It's funny because the more we talk about football, the more I realize how much strategy is involved.
That's one of the reasons so many people fall in love with the sport. On the surface, it looks simple, but underneath, it's an incredibly complex game of tactics, psychology, athleticism, and teamwork.
And I think this World Cup has showcased all of those elements beautifully.
I couldn't agree more. Every day has given us another reason to appreciate just how special this tournament really is.
And honestly, I have a feeling that the biggest moments are still waiting for us.
I think you're right. Because once the knockout rounds begin, every single match becomes a battle where there are no second chances. That's when the tournament reaches another level. During the group stage, a team can recover from one disappointing result. But once the knockout rounds begin, there's no room for mistakes. Lose one match, and your World Cup journey is over.
That's probably why the atmosphere feels completely different.
Exactly. You can see it in the players' faces. Every tackle becomes more intense. Every chance feels more important, and every minute that passes increases the pressure.
I always find the final 10 minutes the most exciting.
Me too. That's when teams are forced to make difficult decisions. Do they keep defending and protect the score? Or do they risk everything to find another goal?
And sometimes those decisions completely change the outcome.
Absolutely. Football history is full of matches that were decided in the closing moments. A late goal can turn heartbreak into celebration in just a few seconds.
I think that's one of the reasons football is so emotional. The game is never really over until the referee blows the final whistle.
Exactly. Fans have learned never to celebrate too early. One moment of brilliance can rewrite the entire story.
Speaking of brilliance, we've already seen some incredible individual performances during this tournament.
We certainly have. Some players seem to thrive under pressure. Instead of becoming nervous, they actually play their best football when millions of people are watching.
Do you think great players are born with that ability?
Partly, but experience plays a huge role. The more high-pressure matches you play, the more comfortable you become. Confidence grows with experience.
So that's why veteran players are often so valuable.
Exactly. They know how to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. Their leadership can completely change the mood of a team.
And then there are the young stars who seem fearless.
That's another fascinating part of the World Cup. Young players sometimes don't feel the pressure in the same way. They play with freedom, creativity, and confidence because they're simply enjoying the biggest moment of their careers.
It's almost like they don't realize how huge the occasion is.
Sometimes that's actually an advantage. They're focused on playing football rather than worrying about making mistakes.
One thing I really enjoy is watching different playing styles from around the world.
That's one of the unique qualities of international football. Every region has its own football identity. Some teams focus on technical passing, others rely on physical strength, while some prefer quick counterattacks or disciplined defending.
So every match feels like a clash of different football philosophies.
Exactly. And that's what makes tactical battles so interesting. Coaches aren't just preparing for another opponent. They're preparing for an entirely different style of football.
I imagine that's incredibly difficult.
It is. Sometimes a team dominates possession, but loses because the opponent executes its game plan perfectly. Football isn't always about controlling the ball. It's about making the right decisions at the right moments.
That's such an important point because people often think the better team always wins.
Not necessarily. The team that plays smarter on the day often comes out on top. Efficiency can be more valuable than dominance.
Another thing I've noticed is how technology has become part of the game.
Definitely. Technology now helps referees make more accurate decisions, and that's reduced many of the controversial moments we used to see in previous tournaments.
Although fans still love debating those decisions afterward.
They certainly do. That's part of football culture. Even when technology provides an answer, people will always have different opinions.
And honestly, those debates keep the conversation going long after the match ends.
Exactly. Football isn't only 90 minutes. It's the discussions afterward, the analysis, the predictions, and the excitement about what's coming next.
Which is exactly what makes the World Cup so addictive. Every day brings another story, another hero, and another unforgettable moment.
And with the tournament entering its most decisive phase, every match now has the potential to become part of football history.
And I can't wait to see which team rises to the occasion when the pressure is at its highest.
You know, Emma, whenever the World Cup comes around, people always ask the same question. What makes this tournament so different from every other football competition?
That's true. There are amazing club tournaments all over the world, but somehow the World Cup just feels bigger.
I think it's because it only happens once every 4 years. Players don't get many opportunities to compete on this stage. For some, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Which means every single match carries enormous importance.
Exactly. A player can win league titles every season, but representing your country at a World Cup is something completely different. You're not just playing for yourself or your club. You're playing for millions of people back home.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is. And that's why we often see so much emotion after the final whistle. Whether it's joy or disappointment, the feelings are completely genuine because the stakes are so high.
I always find it touching when players go over to thank their supporters after the match.
That's one of my favorite traditions as well. Fans spend years waiting for this tournament. Some travel across the world, save money for months, and follow their team wherever they go. The connection between players and supporters is incredibly special.
And even if a team loses, the fans often continue singing.
Exactly. That's what football is really about. Supporting your team through the good moments and the difficult ones. The strongest football cultures understand that success isn't only measured by trophies.
I think this World Cup has reminded us why football is called the beautiful game.
I couldn't agree more. We've seen incredible teamwork, moments of individual brilliance, dramatic finishes, and stories that will be remembered for years.
And we've also seen players showing respect to their opponents after incredibly intense matches.
That's an important part of the game. Rivalries last for 90 minutes, but respect should always remain. Some of the greatest images from World Cup history aren't goals. They're players helping each other up, exchanging shirts, or embracing after the final whistle.
Those moments really show that football is bigger than winning.
Exactly. Competition is important, but sportsmanship is what leaves a lasting impression.
Looking back at everything we've seen so far, what do you think has been the biggest lesson from this tournament?
I'd say it's that modern football has never been more competitive. Reputation alone doesn't win matches anymore. Every team has to earn every victory through hard work, discipline, and smart decisions.
So the days of expecting easy wins are basically over?
I believe so. Every country has improved. Coaching has improved. Youth development has improved. Technology has improved. The overall standard of football continues to rise every year.
Which is fantastic for fans because it means more exciting matches.
Absolutely. More competition creates more drama. And that's exactly what the World Cup is all about.
I also think this tournament has inspired a whole new generation of football lovers.
Without a doubt, somewhere in the world, there are children watching these matches and dreaming about wearing their national team's jersey one day. For many professional players, that's exactly how their journey began.
That's such an inspiring thought.
It really is. Football has an incredible ability to connect generations. Parents watch with their children, friends gather together, entire communities celebrate side by side. Very few events bring people together on such a global scale.
And that's probably why the World Cup creates memories that last forever.
Exactly. Years from now, fans won't just remember the scores. They'll remember where they were, who they watched the matches with, and how they felt during those unforgettable moments.
Well, this tournament has already given us so many incredible memories, and somehow it still feels like there are more unforgettable moments waiting just around the corner.
That's the magic of the World Cup. Every match has the potential to surprise us, inspire us, and remind us why billions of people around the world fall in love with this game again and again.
And that's the perfect place to end today's conversation. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed looking back at some of the biggest stories, surprises, and unforgettable moments from the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Thanks for joining us. Take care, enjoy the football, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.